Maybe there is a... Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh! Is Valentino okay? Alright, fuck it. I'm not going to revert for that. Alright, hey everyone, Whiplash here, and I'm going to do a little streaming this afternoon. And I thought I would mess about with some Kerbal Space Program. They just released the 1.2 version on the pre-release experimental branch. I'm not entirely sure what all of the changes are. It just seemed like this would be a good time to play the game a bit. I am somewhat familiar with the game, but to be honest, I'm nowhere near a pro. On the scale of 1 to Scott Manley, I'm probably about a 2. But one place I do excel is I'm really good with sort of OCD min-maxing the early missions. I'm also pretty good at coming up with designs. You know how you get objectives in your career mode to test this component or that component. I enjoy trying to put together ships that are able to achieve multiple of those objectives at the same time. So I think that's where I can excel. We'll see how it goes here. I'm going to start a new career. I love this Kerbal flag. It's always been my favorite. And let's see. Streaming 1.2 experimental. I can't type. I'm going to leave it on career mode, difficulty normal. Let's start it up. Alright, nice to meet you. I'm Gene Kerman, Flight Director, and your guide for this quick introduction. This is the Space Center. From here you can manage all aspects of the space program. Feel free to have a look around, blah blah blah. So yeah, this is the Space Center. You always start with the lowest level in career mode. Everything is only level 1. You have to upgrade them throughout the course of the game for best objectives. I could go over what all the buildings are, but in this early phase of the game, the most important thing to know is we want to go to the Mission Control building here. This is where you get your contracts. At the beginning, you can only take 2, and there are 4 available. It's going to be a couple missions before I am in orbit. So I'm going to start with these first 2, gather scientific data from Kerbal, and launch our first vessel. I'm going to want to upgrade this building to level 2 as soon as I can, because then I can have more contracts. Same with the astronaut complex. I'll want to upgrade this as soon as I can so my Kerbals can start to do EVAs outside of the spaceship. That will allow me many more options for science accumulation and stuff. But at the very beginning here, you always get just those first 2, and that's all you can do. And there's a pretty simple design you can do to achieve a lot of free science here on this first mission and complete those objectives. So first of all, I'm going to take a capsule and put a parachute on there. And I'm going to take 3 science goo canisters. I think that'll work like that. And there's not much else I can put on here right now except a fuel tank. And I'm going to let Valentina be the first pilot we send up. I'll be rotating through all the people as I can to get them all experience. You also want to make sure to check your staging. I'm going to fire the rocket first and then later fire the parachute to come down safely. That's pretty much all you can do in the first one here, but there's a lot of science you can do on this very first mission. This is the base design. I won't need to do anything else to it. Just a sec. Alrighty. So, first of all, the reason I took 3 goo containers is I'm going to get a goo reading from the pad, I'm going to get a goo reading in flight, and then I'm going to land this pod in the water and I'm going to get a goo reading from the water. So that's all of the goo readings I can possibly get from this first mission. In the same way, I do want to get crew reports, as many as I can. I can get a crew report now from the launch pad here. And while I'm at it, let's go ahead and get this mystery goo, as I was saying. Now, I'm also going to want to get a crew report in flight, but now that I've taken a crew report, there's already a crew report stored in this capsule. It's kind of hard to explain, but a way to think of it is the capsule itself can only hold 1 crew report at a time, but there's like an external hard drive where if you climb out of the ship and take and store the data in there and go back in, then you can do another crew report. So since I want to do a crew report in flight, I'm going to EVA here now. And then I'm going to get an EVA report as well, so I'll have an EVA report from the launch pad. And then I'm going to go in here and do take and store equipments, and that has moved the crew report into the like sort of backup storage where it's still available for the end of the mission, but now I have the ability still to do another crew report. Now, thinking about the maximum objectives you can get on this first mission, I'm also going to want to get a crew report in flight. Now, that's biome specific. When I first take off, it'll be a crew report flying over Kerbin's shores. I can get those every launch because I'll always be flying over Kerbin's shores on launch. So what I really want is flying over Kerbin's water, because I'm going to be going out over the water. So I'm going to be taking off and getting readings from a goo container and reading over Kerbin's water, then splash in the water and get a final one here, and I'll be doing another EVA and stuff, but that's pretty much the gist of it. So I think that's all I need to do. Everything's set. I'm going to take off and head out over the water pretty aggressively because I want to make sure I get to the water. You don't get a lot of flight with this engine, so here we go. Again, the mystery goos in flight are not biome specific, so I can get that while flying at Kerbin, that's fine. But if I check now the crew report, like I was saying, this will be flying over Kerbin shores. I don't want that. I want to wait until I get over the water, which I should get to pretty quickly here. Because again, I can get the crew report flying over Kerbin shores on every launch, because you always launch over the shores. Okay, there we go. Crew report while flying over Kerbin's waters. So I got that. And I'll go ahead and throw the shootout right away here and speed time up a little bit, because there's not much else I can do now until I get down to the water. But I'm going to slow the time down here as we get down under about 2,500. So I forget where the parachute opens. I believe it's around 1,000 meters. Yeah, pretty close. So I've got the crew report over water now. Unfortunately, if I could EVA already, I could EVA now and get an EVA report over the water. I'll have to get that later after I've done the upgrade. But for now, I need to get a crew report from water and an EVA report from water and do this container in water. So there's nothing else I can do until it actually splashes down. I'll speed time up again here until we get down pretty close to the water surface. Right about there. And we'll try to make this a gentle landing by giving a little bit of a tilt there. Okay. Let's get this goo container. So again, now I would like to get a crew report, but you see I already have one because I had the one in flight. So again, I have to EVA. And as long as I'm EVAing, I should get the EVA report. This used to be an EVA report flying over Kerbin's water. It doesn't work that way anymore. It seems like they've caught on to that little glitch. So there's no reason for me to jump in the water. It's the same EVA report either way. And then I'm going to take and store all that data again and reboard the ship, and then finally get a crew report from the water. Alright, there we go. I believe that is all that you can do in the first mission. That is the maximum amount of science you can achieve. It usually puts you at about 42 science points. So we'll see here. The beginning of the game is always the same like that. Oh, science 43. Hey, that's actually wonderful because the upgrades I'm going to do, it'll let me buy a little extra, I think. But that first mission is always the same. Now this is where it starts to mix things up on you. So one of the first things I definitely want to do immediately is upgrade this mission control building. Now I can achieve 7 contracts. Now let's take a look here. Any of these that say conduct a focused observational study, you know, if you're good with your rockets, like really good, you can do it with those, but generally those are best performed using aircraft. And there's a number of upgrades I need to get before I can actually build enough aircraft that could reach the heights. Well, this one's below 18,000, so that's any of them that are below, yeah, above. The basic jet engine you get with the first set of unlocks doesn't go much above 8,500 feet. You have to use like an LV909 engine with it, and it's a little bit of a hack job, but anything that's below those numbers are probably reachable. But anyway, I'm going to come back to those later. Okay, first of all, this one's easy to achieve. Hull and MK, I'm going to be having one of those anyway. test an RT-10 hammer at the launch site. That's no problem. We'll probably use that as our main booster. And we also have a fleet. Oh, we could probably fire both of those at the same time. Haul an LV T-45 swivel engine into flight. I'm going to want to do this, but 4,000 to 7,000. Oh, now we're starting to see, I was going to say that might be an extra flight, but maybe I can squeeze this all into one. Let's see. And haul a decoupler. Holy cow, 300,000 meters. Yeah, that's a big, long one. But these are going to expire, all of these, soon anyway, so... Well, this one won't, but I'm just going to grab all these because I'm going to be doing these at some point anyway. So that fills out my Max 7, and I'm leaving behind these focus studies until I can make an aircraft. Now, I did just get enough extra money. This is pushing it a little, but I'll have enough money left. I'm going to also immediately upgrade this astronaut complex. I still have 38,000. I think the next spaceship I'm going to make is going to be about a third of that price at best. But I wanted that so that I could start doing EVAs and get more science, more aggressive science points. Speaking of that, let's take a look now with the 43 points we have. I'm always going to grab these two trees first. 33 left is beautiful because I generally like to get these two first, which add up to exactly 33. So we'll get those. But my next objective will be to get the science one as soon as possible, and so I can get the thermometers to get more science. I really need to get science and aviation and general rocketry and advanced rocketry before I can start building. If I'm going to build an airplane that's going to use an LV-909, unless I get awarded one as part of a mission, I could really use this fuel tank and stuff. It would be useful. So... In fact, I might have even waited to get stability now I think about it and just raced for the science because you can get so much out of these temperature readings, but I think this will be okay for now. I have no science left, but there are things for me to, objectives for me to complete here. I need to ask you, give me one quick second, I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. Alright, so let's go into the vehicle assembly building. Now there's a little sort of thing, I was going to say like hack job. It's not really. There's a thing you can do where you can start a flight with a Science Junior and all those different science things at the launch pad and the runway and get some free science points. I am going to do that, but I'm waiting till I unlock the thermometers so I can get all those readings at the same time. So right now my objective is just to do a successful flight that completes as many of these contracts as possible and trying to diversify a little bit what I'm going to do. Last time I landed in water, I may go west this time into the grasslands so I can get readings from there as well. So I have to think about this. Now I've got the MK16 parachute already. So I need a RT-10 solid fuel booster at launch site and a flea at the launch site. And then haul an LVT. You just have to have it with you. Ooh, that's... Okay, it's a low altitude, but these kind of speeds, no way. That's really uncommon. You don't want to be going anywhere near this speed normally when you're going into the thickness of the lower atmosphere. About half of that, so that's going to be a hard one to achieve. I won't worry about that one on this one. This one's also a suborbital trajectory, so I guess the only thing is that I need to test those two engines and get this MK16 parachute. This is also a little important too. I need to, I just have to haul it, so I need to be going at this speed in the first 10,000 feet. I need to never get above 230. That shouldn't be a problem. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to want a Science Junior. Now again, the Science Junior is biome specific on the ground. I'll want to get a reading from the launch pad, but I'll get that later when I do that little trick. I'll want to get a flight reading in flight, and I'll want to get one where I land, whether it's water or grassland. So I actually should probably take two of them. I think I can make that work. Again, because I'm trying to min-max the science here as much as possible. Now, goo canisters, I got one at the runway, I got one in flight and in the water. So, if I'm gonna go in the water, I don't need goo containers. If I'm gonna land in the grasslands, it wouldn't hurt to bring one. I'd get one at the grasslands. And I think I might do it that way because I'm gonna want to shoot for the water later when I have the thermometers to get the water temperatures. So, I'm gonna put 2 of these on just because you have to for symmetry, but I'm really gonna only use one of them ultimately. And let's see, then we're going to want a stacked coupler here. This should be enough parachutes to bring it all down safely. Now I have to test one of each of these engines. I think the best way to do that is going to be we'll put a single booster and we'll attach a couple of these to the sides so they all fire. We're going to fire them all off at the same time on takeoff. That looks pretty good. I don't necessarily need these all to be going at full power though, because that's going to be a little too fast. I'm going to put these down all the way to like 25%, these external ones. And I bet you even this one you could probably put down to 50. I don't run a really super high ascent. There might even be more fuel than I really want to burn overall. But I'm just kind of winging it here. Usually when I do these, I'll start it and then, you know, take a flight and see how it goes and revert the flight and fine tune it as needed. We'll start with that and see what it does. I'm going to switch out Jebediah now. Check out our staging. We're going to fire all these at once, then we're going to decouple there. Oh, there's one thing I forgot. I'm also a bit OCD about trying to recover things. I always love the stage recovery mod for that reason, although it doesn't work in this version now. But basically, once I decouple this stage, it's going to also fire these parachutes and hopefully get this stage down safely for the full recovery cost. And then these parachutes will be enough for me to land safely in the grasslands. I can tilt my approach as I come down. I've done it before. This will be fine. Unused monopropellant. I can turn that off, get a little weight back. And that's really all that I think I have to have on here. Let's give it a try. Okay, so I've already gotten a crew report from the pad and an EVA report from the pad. This would be an opportunity for me to get the crew report flying over Kerbal shores, but again, I'm going to go over grasslands, so I'm going to actually wait like I did last time to get the crew report over flying over Kerbal's grasslands. And I'm going to get one of these in flight. I'll probably do another one, even though I've already done it. I'll get a little science out of it. And then when I land in the grasslands, we'll do these two. And I'll be getting an EVA report as I'm flying down over the grasslands as well. So I don't think there's anything else I have to worry about doing until I'm actually out over the grasslands. Okay, let's watch this and see if it goes up properly. Okay, this feels pretty good, not a super high speed. I'm gonna start turning over. Alright, my speed is probably going to get too high before... You can't stop those, right? Yep, too high. So, just real quick, fine tune it a little more. So again, I put those at 25, and this one, I'll move this one down to 40. Actually, 35. And that should be perfect. Hopefully. Just go ahead and get these right away. See, still an extra 1.6. It's better than nothing. So now, as long as my speed is under 230 as I cross 3,000, it's probably going to still be too much, isn't it? Oh, I wish I could, like, stop the engine for a second. Okay, as you can see, I'm really close. I'm just going to have to turn it down a little more. Screw it, let's take it way down to the same as the other ones. That should be, it's okay. I've got room to spare to go a little slower. I am pretty confident that this one will make it now. Yeah, I'm turning over pretty quick, but it's not really going to matter. This is a very slow flight I'm doing. I just want to make sure that I get out over the grasslands. So we did get our test of the 2 engines there, and now this time, hopefully, we've just crossed the speed. Hopefully by the time I get to 3,000 meters, I'll still be under 230. And that'll just ping that right off, and then I'm good to go. There we go, boom. Completed that one. So now I'm going to start really turning over and burn this stage out. Let's take a look and see if I'm getting crew report over Kerbal Shores still okay. We don't want that, but I forgot. I got to get these quick while in flight at Kerbal on these 2. And let's check this again. Still over Kerbal Shores. We just have to wait a little longer. Oh, don't want this to tip over. Yeah, I'll be over the grasslands for sure on this flight. Still tons of fuel left. I could have taken less, but I'm not going to restart it again for that. You know, though, I think I will just go ahead and ditch that stage at this point. It's still pushing me, though. While flying over Kerbal's grasslands. There we go. Okay, there we go. Jeez. Hopefully that didn't damage the chutes. I think it'll probably be okay. Alright, so now I've gotten the crew report flying over Kerbal's grasslands, and now that I think about it, I could have done that a little differently. I could have gotten the crew report over the shores, then done an EVA up here once my chutes open. And then still got a crew report flying over Kerbal's grasslands, but I'll still be able to get that other one anytime. Okay. Now I'm just waiting for the chute to open. If I really wanted to min-max it, I would have restarted again, lowered the fuel a bit, and done that crew report the way I said to show you how to get the maximum amount. But this is still going to be quite a lot of science. So I can't get another crew report till I EVA and stuff here, but now I can EVA when I'm on the chutes and take that and take and store the data and get back in. Then I'm going to need readings from when I land for everything. So there's nothing else I can do now until we actually touch the ground. Speed time up. I'm coming down very slowly, so. There we go. Nice gentle touchdown. Alright, we need to observe the material bay here. This will be a biome-specific reading for that, as well as this. Keep that data. And now I can get a crew report. And then EVA again. EVA report from the grasslands. Now I could jump off and walk around, but it'll still be the same EVA report. There's really no reason to. So that is all I can get on this mission again. And I just want to take a look here. If I press the next craft, oh, no new apps. Okay, I wanted to see if the other thing came down safely. Looks like it did right over here. I believe that is all I can achieve from this mission. Okay, let's recover the vessel and get all our parts back and see where we stand. Up to 49 science, so I've got enough to get one of those higher tier things. I still have some debris out here somewhere. There it is. Let me take a look at it. I want to see what shape it's in. Yeah, it came down okay. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, let's take a look at mission control now. I've completed a bunch of stuff. So the focused observational studies, again, that's how I can build an aircraft. Let's see. Hull, this is a fairly easy one usually to pull off. I'll grab that. And then a radial mount, I've already been doing that. This is nice. And test a BACC thumper. Ooh, at 43. This is going to be a really hard one. I hate when this happens. The BACC thumper is like this massive fuel tank. To get it to that height, I mean, there's things I could do. I could put the minimum amount of fuel in it to make it light and just need to plan the early stages to get to the height so that I can fire it at the right. And also, you have to be going at a fairly low speed, realistically. I'm going to grab it, but I'm not going to be able to pull that one off for a little bit. Let's take a look at the science. So I have enough right now to go ahead and get this. I think I will. And I'm going to show you now that little trick I was talking about where I can get a bunch of free science points that I haven't grabbed yet. We start out by going to the airplane hangar here. We're going to throw down a capsule and a science junior and a thermometer and a goo canister. And then for this flight, I'm going for this one and the next one, I'm going to use the engineer and scientist because they actually do get points for this. So we'll go with the engineer guy, and we just launch this quick. And so a bunch of science we can get here. Observe this at the runway. Get the temperature at the runway. Get a crew report at the runway. Get a goo canister reading at the runway. And then get an EVA report from the runway. And take and store that data. You could stop there, but there's one other thing I can do because I'm in the runway. If I just go over this way a little bit, not real far, just down the hill, I'll be at the Kerbal Space Center instead of on the runway, and that's one more EVA report that I can pull real quick. And then I'll do the same at the launch pad. Some of the stuff I already have, but the rest I don't. But I'll probably get enough. I'll probably get enough science to unlock at least one more thing before we move on to the next mission. To go a little bit further. There we go. I could run back, but instead I'm just going to recover, and I'll recover this craft separately. The first recover is just going to recover my character who only had 6 points of science on him, but this is still here, and I can recover that and get the other 23. Not bad. So it was about 30 between those two. And we're going to do the same thing here. I'm going to turn it sideways because it makes it easier to get out on the runway without hurting yourself, falling from too high. There we go. It's just basically the same design. Some of these I've already gotten, but I might get some points out of it still, and just to be 100% sure of everything we got. See, now Bill Kerman has gained a little bit of experience out of that, so now we're going to send Bob this time. And just grab up these extra science points and then see where we stand, review our current contracts, and decide on the next design what we're going to do. So I know I haven't gotten this one yet, and the temperature reading. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we already did the goo, but we'll get something out of it. Yeah, 0.7. And unfortunately, again, like the crew report, I already had one. EVA, I've already got one. And I can show what I was saying here, like even if I jump off and walk around a bit, I still have already gotten that EVA report, so. Why can't I get in on pressing the wrong key? So that's all I can do from there.